Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another live episode of the Galaxy of Geeks podcast. I'm joined today by my beautiful co-host from across the pond. Always so happy, always so chipper, Mr. Victor Ruiz. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Oh, you're right. You're very welcome, sir. So I want to thank everybody right now who's watching us live. Thank you for joining us on this beautiful Thursday evening, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For Victor, he's way ahead. He's in a time machine, so he's like 6 hours ahead. 6 hours.
Six. Yeah.
6 hours ahead. So he's in that time machine. So he's coming to us from the future currently. Yeah, exactly. And as always, I always want to thank people who take the time to watch the replay. Thank you all so much for tuning in, watching the replay, hanging out with us. And for everybody that will be listening to this as the audio version on the podcast, thank you all so much for your support. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe wherever you're watching or listening to this, because that helps us grow the channel and helps us get more viewers and get more people indoctrinated into the Galaxy of Geeks. How was that? That was pretty good.
Wait.
There you go. We're getting better. We're getting better with the cues.
There you go. Well, yeah. I mean, better that than.
I don't mind that. Yeah, that works. You need like the crowd noise from like Married with Children, like, because it would be the crowd and it would always be the like, and you also yeah, Al! Like there was always like that voice all the way. Yeah. We got to get like the lame crowd from like the Uncle Floyd show or something like that, where it's just like, three guys laughing and like one guy clapping.
Well, when you started saying that you wanted to, thank everyone for coming, first thing that come to mind was.
I want to tell you, you've been a dynamite audience, and you deserve to give yourselves a round of applause. Let's go.
You wanted the best, you got the best.
There you go. And I mean, if you want to be like blitzed out of your mind, you could also have this one.
Ow! Ow!
Name that artist.
Is that Ted Nugent? I got it. Yeah. It's not Paul.
Nope. That is Mr.
Play one more time.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
I'm drawing a blank.
His real name is John Michael, but he goes by the name of Ozzy.
Oh wow! What year is that from?
That's from a 1983 bootleg called East of Donington or something like that. Yeah, right after that he starts saying "Bark at the Moon."
Oh, nice.
And they go into the song.
That's pretty good. I you know what? You forgot like how high Ozzy, when he does not reach those ranges anywhere close to that anymore. Yeah, that's a good soundbite though.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm sure everybody tuning in right now didn't tune in to hear sound drops, although you might have. So then you found the right show. You found the right show. But
could be they're checking out now. They listen to the sound bites and they're gone. But let's hope not.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hope not. As usual, while we do the show live on Thursdays, if you do have questions, comments, or want to jump in on the conversation and participate, please just throw them in the comments, and we will incorporate them into this beautiful, well-run program. Yes. We will definitely incorporate them. So yeah, feel free to chat with us. So.
Machine.
Yes, it is a fine-tuned machine that just runs. It just runs. It's just
run. Yes.
This is like our version. This is like our Galaxy of Geeks is like our version of the Uncle Floyd show. I think we may be a slightly more. I think we might run a little bit better than Uncle Floyd show. I don't know. That's a bold statement. I think Uncle Floyd was a little bit more on
Yeah, no Oogie, no.
Yeah,
Captain
we don't have all
Fork.
these.
We don't have Captain Fork. We don't have, piano. Although we could break in the song and dance at any time, but
Yeah.
we'll hold that off for the future. We're still trying to clear, song rights before doing that. We're not like Uncle Foot where we can come up with bits on the piano, that second.
No, which that's a real talent. So
yes.
that definitely works good. All right, so let's just jump into this. So we've got some stuff to talk about tonight in the world of geekdom. We're gonna kick it off hot.
Yes.
Boom. Doctor Strange 2 rumors. Boom. Here we go. Lay it on me. What rumors are you hearing? What was that?
Wait. That one's called Explosion. This is actually Boom.
Boom's better.
Okay. Exclusive rumors. No,
exclusive rumors from the interweb.
So from the interweb, from the multiverse. So the rumors are that this started coming on the web yesterday. I saw it on several sites where they mentioned that Professor X and Reed Richards will be involved in the movie.
That is interesting. So is that a Marvel confirmation? Is that an MCU confirmation? Or is this like, I heard it from a guy who told me, who then wrote it on Twitter, and then it became
Reddit. Well, this guy's been, he hasn't failed me before. He told me when the dinner special would be on December 6th, January 18th, and February 1st. So I'm going to go by his assessment.
Going to go by that assessment.
Yeah, yes. So it's one of those things where Marvel has not confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
But the rumor has it that both of them will appear. Now, here's the thing to all of that. And I mean, we've been saying this all along. WandaVision is going to lead into Doctor Strange.
Right. Yeah. Very apparent too after this last episode, but so I'm saying last Friday's episode. This is we're the Thursday before episode 7.
Yeah.
So we're up to episode 6. So when we reference WandaVision, we talk about it later on. We're talking about episode 6. We haven't seen 7 yet.
Yes. So this leads me to a question. Now, Quicksilver has not been recast, although it's the Quicksilver from Fox's version. Yeah. Could it be that we see James McAvoy as a Professor X, and we see one of the many former Reed Richards reprise the role? Because we've heard all these rumors about Charlie Cox also being Daredevil once again. There's rumors regarding Ritter. I forget her first name. She played Jessica Jones. Kristen Ritter. Okay, so there's rumors of, if that character comes back to the MCU, that it's her as well. So do you think that they would recast some of these characters, or do they just bring back some of these actors? Because there's been plenty of stuff going around saying that Marvel wants Hugh Jackman to play Wolverine, in at least 2 movies.
I mean, you bring up a really good question. I mean, and we've talked about this in so many other, properties, things like that, recasting and who you bring in, which version of this character do you bring back? I think Quicksilver, if they keep as is, wherever they're going to go with the storyline, I think they can leave him. I think Christian Peters is really good. Evan Peters, sorry. Evan Peters is really good in the role, and he's obviously seems to be into doing it. Obviously when you get these higher echelon actors, it's harder for them to be in like a weekly show and things like that. But if you're going into the movie universe, then I think it's a lot easier to have him commit. I think he would stay intact, but this is what we say now because we don't know what's going to happen with the rest of WandaVision. So I don't think it's worth recasting if he's staying in the universe now, and this is what's going to happen. But I guess we'll see. As far as Reed Richards go, I think you can completely recast that character because a majority of people did not watch any of those Fox Fantastic Four films, and I think they could just be forgotten in time, honestly. And I think that you have a great opportunity to just bring someone new in and take that role on, and then set the stage for, you know, all the future with the Fantastic Four coming in. So I think that would work.
Yeah, and that would be similar to Hulk with Mark Ruffalo. Let's not forget that Mark Ruffalo's the third person to play him on, you know, the big screen.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. I mean, absolutely, because you know, you had Ed Norton and Eric Bana were both, and then if you even go all the way back to, you know, Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, actually Lou Ferrigno was the Hulk, which goes way, way back. But I mean, as far as like in recent memory, and if you're gonna like the Eric Bana one wasn't really part of continuity though, but it was the Ed Norton one.
Right.
Was right because actually I think it's actually considered the first MCU film. Is that Hulk, because it has that end scene that connects, that then leads into like Iron Man basically, because we bring Tony Stark in that end scene.
Yeah, and the other thing too is Tim Roth is going to be reprising the role of Abomination in She-Hulk. So that definitely still, even though Ed Norton isn't carrying over, it's going to connect. So that's why, you know, we're talking about that. We're talking about Evan Peters with Quicksilver. It's definitely, you know, I do think that Feige is trying to do what's best for the story over just, you know, I think we've seen with other properties where just film houses have just decided to say, you know, put their foot down and say, oh, well, you know, I know what's best and we're going to do what we want, as opposed to, you know, Feige sitting down and very meticulously and figuring out what the proper course is going to be for the MCU and everything around it, because now they're involved with TV and movie. The other thing too with Feige, which is kind of cool, with WandaVision, they've gone out and brought things in from, for example, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., who previous to Feige taking over, it was, oh, no, you know, that's our TV division. That has nothing to do with us. But Feige has still gone and taken different bits of things, which gives us hope that, you know, we will see a Charlie Cox as Daredevil, you know, or we will see different things worked into the MCU. And let's not forget, you know, their deal with Sony, which technically, you know, Spider-Man is a Sony property, but, you know, he's basically consulting. You know, it came out that he worked behind the scenes on Venom quite a bit and kind of helped them. Maybe not helped enough, but but you know, I don't know. I think they're definitely laying the groundwork with everything now, because we've always seen, you know, continuity and everything kind of a thread and tie into one another. I definitely think that they're doing their best to take what they're putting down with WandaVision and making that, you know, they're sort of creating roots that are going to continue to go into you know, phase 4. So this is great so far.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I think it's going to be, I mean, they really are, I think, laying the groundwork, like you said. And you know, just to bring back a little bit, you did say, you know, if it's true that they're trying to court Hugh Jackman back into the role of Wolverine, you know, I mean, I still think he still looks the part. I still think it'd be fun to see him. I always liked him as Wolverine. I mean, you and I talked about it you know, we both love the last Wolverine movie. You know, basically
that's the great. I think.
Basically Old Man Logan, and if they do like actually more of that Old Man Logan story, which is a great book, I think that would be amazing to see, like as a series or on screen, you know, as a film. So I would love to see him come back. I really would. I mean, we know we can't last forever, right? I mean, he's going to age out of the role. I think we're right on the cusp now. I mean, but once again, if we focus on the Old Man Logan storyline, then he actually becomes more into that age appropriate for playing that part. But I think it's going to be, you know, eventually they're going to have to cast somebody younger into that role, especially with the X-Men coming back at whatever point in time and all that. We'll have to see a different version of Wolverine, but it would be neat to see him kind of transition into that old man Logan type of thing, which would be neat. So I'm excited.
Yeah. I mean, he's said that, you know, he can't envision working out and keeping that body, you know, in his 60s, which he's in his late 50s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, I don't think people realize how much work it takes to stay in that kind of shape. I mean, it's like boo-hoo-hoo, I'm getting paid $1 million, or more than $1 million, but getting paid a lot of money. But still, it's a lot. It's a lot to do, especially as you get older. It's not easy, and you don't want to do it sometimes. You know,
look at us. We tried in our mid-40s, and look at how that's done.
Yeah, look, we're completely falling apart. We're sitting here on our asses talking about geek stuff on our stream.
There you go.
All right, so moving right along here.
Yes.
We've got
a topic you brought up last night.
No show can be complete without some Star Wars talk. Hey, yes. And because I saw, you know, it's funny too, and I'm wondering if this coincides because I don't know. So during the week, I think it was Tuesday, Rian Johnson or Last Jedi started trending on Twitter. And this is before I sent the news to you, which, so I don't know how closely related they are, but it seems ironic. But Last Jedi was just trending on Twitter for whatever reason, and people were all weighing in on that, like whether they're for it or vehemently hate it, talk about how it destroyed Star Wars, divided the fan base, and, you know, and for the most part, all those things are true. Like, it really did divide the fan base in a bad way, which I think has caused a lot of this. You know, in the group, you could see, I mean, in our group, the Galaxy Geeks Facebook group, we try to be extremely as drama free as possible, and we don't censor people's opinions as long as you're not looking to start a fight or be a troll. So we're happy to entertain the opinions in this group, but we, you know, and everybody's been always respectful of that. So you know, you have your opinions about it. I mean, you and I have talked about it at length about our feelings of Last Jedi, and I've gone back and rewatched it again and again, and it still for me holds up in the parts that I feel like it holds up in. And I don't think it's a horrible movie. I do not. I think that there's parts that they dropped the ball on. I feel like, you know, I've vocalized this and you've vocalized your side as well. So I don't want to make this a Last Jedi episode. I want to talk about this at hand, which is something we've talked about. Yeah. Rian Johnson. And it's not even Rian Johnson that actually came out and said it, if I believe, right? It was, I'm going to bring this up so I can be accurate.
Right.
Because I do want to be accurate when it comes. So this was something that I saw trending on I sent this to you last night because it came up in my feed on my phone.
I have to say that the last time that I did watch the movie, for some reason, I got the when Leia's flying back to the ship when she's out in space. I thought of Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 saying, "I'm Mary Poppins, yo."
I'm Mary Poppins, yo. Yeah, that is pretty funny. All right, here we go. I am going to share my screen because I did find it, and I want. Here we go. And for everybody who's listening to this right now, I am sharing my screen, but I will read this out. So this was an article that I shared with Victor. It came across my and this was released on February 15th, and this is on a comicbook.com website. And what happened was there is a post that was made by Soraya Wilson, who shared on Twitter. She had a lengthy interview with the filmmaker, and what she posted on her Twitter was, "I'm just going to post this now because I can see that I'm going to get a lot of requests. Yes, Rian Wilson's Star Wars trilogy, or Ryan, I'll just say Ryan's Star Wars trilogy is still on. No dates or timelines because he has other projects going on, but it is happening. That's all I know about it." And then she's got 3 smiley emoji faces. So the article does go on to talk about what's going on, but this was a tweet that was put out that was put out on February 15th. So, and Soraya Wilson, she's a USA Today bestselling author, and she writes on a lot of things going on in Hollywood. So this is apparently she did an interview with Rian Johnson, and this is what came up. So with that being said, what are your thoughts?
Same as I said to you the other day. Is Disney aware of the fact that he's still writing the trilogy? He's writing it, but does anyone know, or has anyone else approved that he's doing it?
Yeah. I mean, is this just going to be a thing where I mean, listen, this has been so quiet. I mean, we all just thought this was good. Remember the big announcement, and it's just faded away, faded away, and now this is putting it right back out there. Yeah,
but I think also there were so many things that happened. We had the D&D announcement, we had the Rian Johnson announcement, and then the whole Game of Thrones debacle happened, and Last Jedi Solo, kind of all three of those things kind of came into one another. So all of a sudden, what should have been a huge announcement, all of a sudden seemed to go over, like a fart in church to a lot of people. I think that's why it kind of went away. And then we saw later on the announcement that Feige was going to be doing a movie, and that Taika Waititi was going to be doing a movie.
Jenkins has got a movie.
Yeah, and then The Mandalorian happened, and then it all kind of, they were able to put all of the kind of negative publicity on the back burner. And for every time that somebody brings up, the trip to the casino, someone else will bring up, well, if you're hung up on that, you need to check The Mandalorian.
Right.
It's kind of been, if you don't like this, check this other stuff out because you'll absolutely love it. And we've talked about this before. I think that they've been able to, change their style of storytelling. And we talked about it, I think, last week or the week before. If you really think about it, The Mandalorian plays out to be like 2 movies set over 9 episodes. Now, let me ask you this, because this just came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
If you split Last Jedi up into 30-minute pieces, is it easier to digest?
So you're saying if Last Jedi was released as a series, as opposed to a film, yes. Is it more digestible? It's a great question, and I'm gonna say I don't think that that's the case, because my problems with the film are still fundamental. That to me, they didn't do the right stuff with the Finn and Rose character. I really felt like that was a throwaway storyline. They wanted to do something with them. They weren't sure. I think the mission itself was a good idea to put them on a mission, but where the mission went and what they tried to jam in, and it just, I don't know. I feel like it lost its way a little bit.
Just think of it this way. If that arc was 2 episodes of a series, as opposed to being just jammed into the movie,
would it work better, you're saying?
Would it work better?
Maybe. If we did it over like how they've been running Mandalorian as like a 8-9 episode series, 8 episode. Yes. Would it? I mean, maybe. It wasn't my favorite storyline of the film, but if you can slow it down over, say, so that basically, if it's half an hour, each episode's a half an hour, that's becomes a 4-hour movie essentially, if you put all the episodes together. So maybe there's more time there, because what I would have loved to had more time with is more of Rey and Luke training, understanding where Luke's disdain for the Jedi Order came from, and exploring more of that time. Maybe he's talking to Rey about his time as running the Jedi Academy. Like, I'd love to hear more of that, and we just got like quick skirts over it. And also delving more into like Rey's struggle with feeling the pull of both sides, much like how Luke has always had to deal with of the pull of the dark and the light because he's so powerful, and then knowing that Rey is basically derived from a powerful dark side user. So I think if we'd had more time to delve into some of those things, it'd be a little bit more interesting. Like we've had time with Mandalorian, and then you have like these standalone like man on a mission video episodes, stuff like that. So maybe it would have worked a little bit better. I think we could have slowed it down. I would have loved to have heard more about Leia, like working on her Force abilities, like because that what you described, her in space and using the Force and all that, like honestly, that's not something that it just does not. That's not an intuitive Force power.
Right.
That needs to be trained, right? So we did see some of her and Luke training in the beginning of Last Jedi. I mean, of Rise of Skywalker. And so I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of that interaction. Like maybe she's talking to Rey and flashing back. And like, once again, a little bit more time to fill in some of that extra stuff would have been neat. And maybe we're going to see some of that, like, which is what they're saving for series and films or whatever to, go back and see some more of that.
Yeah, that's something that we discussed last episode where I had read a rumor that once they start to really flesh out like what happened between Jedi and Force Awakens, that they want to have, other series that focus on everything that's going on in the background between episodes 7, 8, and 9. I do think at the same time you also have to build up those characters. All of a sudden we start up episode 7 and Poe is supposed to be this badass. Okay, so they're trying to make him like a modern day like Han almost. But with Han, over time, some of those stories were fleshed out. They really haven't fleshed any of that Poe stuff out. So, I mean, that's something I'd like to see. I think we've got two different things here where if we look at episode 9 objectively, a lot was thrown at us like out of the blue. Like all the Leia and training with the Force and all of that, where I don't know, would it have made just more sense in having them focus on Rey training as opposed to that? And like you mentioned to me, I don't know if you mentioned this behind, when we talked earlier this week or whatnot, the whole thing with Palpatine having a son and all this, like we're now
I talked about that last show. Like,
like there's definitely like 5 or 6 points that I think both Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams like really like. There should have been something where. And this is maybe the difference between having a Feige with Marvel and how Kathleen Kennedy works with the Disney or with the Star Wars side of things.
Right, where she's doing this.
Yeah, which is everything is so calculated in Marvel that it makes you like, holy shit, or holy crap, there's a bug on the wall. Well, that bug connects to this or whereas with Star Wars, it's more of a, what just happened? Like you're saying, even if all right, so a lot of people had an issue with that, the quote unquote Mary Poppins theme or scene from episode 8.
Yeah,
we went from Leia being Luke's sister to all of a sudden being like almost a master Jedi.
It was a huge jump for people to deal with.
It was a huge jump. Yes.
And quite frankly, I was shocked that they went that, like, it was, for me, I was like, oh, that's cool. I understand why people are upset about it because it is a huge jump for anybody to be like, wait a second, when did she get this powerful that she could be in space and not die like in a half a, like, and I mean, we saw this ability get used in Rebels, but I mean, how many people were watching, you know what I'm saying? Like, mainstream was not watching Rebels. Like, so to sit there and go, well, what happened in an episode of Rebels? And it's like, you've already lost the general population of people.
Yeah. Like, it's one thing grabbing a weapon, having that like come to her like from 5 feet away, as opposed to something that is supposed to kill you, floating in space. So.
Right. it's a giant amount of power to give somebody who you're not expecting to have that power, even though you know what her lineage is and all that. Like, great. But for, you know, the mainstream Star Wars fan, like, that is like, I mean, not even for the mainstream. I mean, for most Star Wars fans, that's a big leap to take. Like, well, wait a second, where was the evolution? Where was that dropped? I mean, we knew she was a force user. But like, just to see that from that is like, it's a lot to handle from a character development standpoint.
Had it have been Rey, you know, it would almost be a little bit more palatable, because you've already seen her force, you know, her how force sensitive she is in episode 7. So you could have said, okay, well, you know, that's also a big leap, but you know, we've seen all these other things take place already.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been, I think it, you know, it was a lot to hit you with, because I love, you know, and I know we have to move on another topic, so I don't want to keep dwelling on it. So, I mean, I'm going to bring it all back, but I mean, I still love the opening of Last Jedi. I love that whole TIE fighter fight, the comedy there. I thought it was great. But then going from that to like this moment, and then this like massive moment, and honestly, a massive moment with a major character in Star Wars, to like give this like great ability right away is a lot for people to swallow right away. And I think, and then that, and then these other things. But listen, I think Rian Johnson is a great director, and I think he's a very good writer. I love Knives Out, his first movie, which I'm blanking out, but it's really good. I think if you let him do his thing and not all this interference stuff, and maybe if there is a Kevin Feige type of element there that helps to bring all that together, and he writes a complete trilogy rather than like being inserted into something, having to write, and then Colin Trevorrow's writing something that's based off that, but then it's like, well, no, we're going to throw that away and we're going to bring JJ back. It's like, now you've just got a piecemeal trilogy as opposed to being a cohesive like storyline. Like, but like Lord of the Rings plays out as a trilogy, you know. Star Wars 4, 5, and 6 play out as a trilogy. Like, it's a, you know, call what it, but it plays out. It's not, does it always have great moments? No, but like, you feel fulfilled in a way, like after watching those. I'm not going to talk about the prequels. But with this, it's like, you've got three entirely different films that are all supposed to work together, and they don't
match up.
Really match up. So anyway, I think if you let him write his, I'd be interested in seeing it. I really would. I think he's a good writer, and I think that if you let him write an entire piece from start to finish, I think we could get something good. But I'm willing to give people a benefit of the doubt, man.
Yeah. To me, my biggest issues with that movie still ends up being that the argument of them being chased by the Empire and chasing them through all the light jumps is the same as an episode of Battlestar Galactica where the Cylons jumping with them. The cave scene,
which is world's slowest car chase.
The cave scene, which is like lifted directly from Rebels as well, where they get out of the back end of the cave in the same exact manner. And you also had those kind of like crystal wolves that they had in Rebels as well that kind of gave the whole thing away. So, I mean, did I like that, you know, Luke dies at the end? No, you know, because I was kind of hoping for more. But, you know, I think we still got some more because, you know, the Force ghosts and whatnot. But,
yeah.
My question to you is this. Is Mark Hamill trolling people when he starts posting the sequels never happened and stuff like that?
I think he is. I mean, I think he loves to like rouse people, and I think he trolls. I mean, he's not happy with the way Luke was sent out. That is abundantly clear, and that is true. He's not happy. He does feel fundamentally like the character was done a disservice, and I can't blame him. You know, but I don't know. I mean, he's I don't know. I seem to think he likes to play a lot. He likes to screw around with people. So it's a good question. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Let me call him up. Let me call him.
All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Are you trolling people on Twitter? No. He says no. All right. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, he said no.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. Moving along.
I believe it was comicbook.com mentioned today that Jessica Jones and the Punisher, the rights have now reverted back to Marvel.
It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years.
Wow.
And people at the time, remember, so many people, it's going to take forever, man.
It still may take forever to get these up and running.
Right. We're finally out. We're finally out of everything. These characters returned. Again, we talked about it in the beginning. Christian Ritter is supposedly going to appear in the She-Hulk series.
Okay. Jessica Jones.
Yeah, that is the rumor that She-Hulk Jennifer, what the heck is the character's name? I forget. But she's an attorney by day, and apparently she's going to be Jessica Jones' lawyer.
Okay.
So, and that's how that all ties in. That's the rumor at the moment.
There it is. Marvel Studios gets the Punisher and Jessica Jones rights back from Netflix on comicbook.com.
There you go. I should have sent you the link.
Sorry.
I found it. You're good like that.
Yeah. So what it says here is, just to read this off comicbook.com, live action rights of Jessica Jones and a Punisher have reverted back to Marvel Studios after a multi-year tenure with Netflix. The characters were the subjects of tremendously popular shows, along with Daredevil, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage. When Disney had revealed plans to launch their own streaming service, which would rival Netflix, Netflix canceled all the Marvel titles in a move which shocked fans as of the successful properties. The rights of the characters remained with Netflix for 2 years after they were canceled, and that window has now officially closed, meaning Jessica Jones and Punisher are now eligible to be used by Marvel Studios.
Could you see, and we've talked about this, we talked about it when all this first went down.
Right.
Could you see Marvel buying the rights to those series from Netflix?
Can I see Marvel? Yes, I can. I could see them saying, listen, we want to bring those over here and put them on the service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that. They're not going to fit on, they're going to have to be on the Disney, whatever that other, I don't think they could be on Disney Plus.
Right.
Especially, because they're definitely much more like they fit them more at the adults, like the adult side of things. You've got cursing, especially Punisher is extremely violent. They all have a big element of violence, a more realistic. Iron Fist is the most cartoonish out of them all.
Right.
But even Luke Cage, is tough. It's like, so they would have to go into that other Disney, whatever that's being called. What is it called?
Over here it's called Disney Star.
Disney Skinomax? Okay.
Skinomax, yeah.
Disney Star.
Disney Star, and that's actually launching next week, the 23rd. And they're using Deadpool as like the property that they're promoting the most, to get people to sign up. Essentially, if you re-up Disney Plus this year, you get it for free for the first year, and then next year it jumps up $20 for the entire year if you want to keep it. So,
all right. Yeah, I think that these shows would be great on Disney Star because they are more adult themed like that. You definitely can't have little kids watching these shows,
right?
With a lot of stuff to deal with.
Yeah, they're bringing in The Gifted, which was
I remember The Gifted on Fox.
Yeah,
I stopped watching that.
Yeah, I bailed after like the first 2 episodes of the second. I bailed
too. It started off really good.
Yeah, and then and I believe that their Legion is going to be included as well. So
Legion is fantastic.
So that's why it leads me to think, does Disney want to have every Marvel property possible under one roof?
They should. They should. I mean, it makes sense that way, especially if people are looking for stuff and want to have to watch like, oh, you got to watch Legion on FX, and which now they own all the Fox stuff. This is the only thing is the Marvel and Sony stuff is going to be like you're not going to see the Sony stuff on. I mean, it'll get probably limited licensing, and it could be on Disney Plus for a while, but then it's going to go back to wherever it goes, unless now Disney buys Sony. But we'll see if they gobble up Sony next just to get all that stuff. But just bringing it back to Jessica Jones and the Punisher and all those properties now being up for grabs, I would love to see them use these characters in there. I mean, there's already been, and that was in the we talked about it last week, and it was in the article, is that Charlie Cox has been spotted on the set of Spider-Man 3. So they're going to, it sounds like, for all intents and purposes, they're going to keep Charlie Cox as the character, which will be great. And I would love to see another Daredevil show with him in there. I thought, what's his name? John Bernthal?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought he was actually great as the Punisher. I wasn't psyched about the writing in season 2, but I thought that he was really good. And I liked Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones. Once again, I don't have a problem with a lot of the casting. The only casting I've had a problem with is Iron Fist, because I just didn't feel like it just didn't work for me. But everybody else they put into these roles, I feel like, are great. And even, some of the letdowns, like Defenders, was like something we were all psyched about. And it was like, and then you bring Sigourney Weaver in, and then it's kind of like you take her out like this weird way. I don't know. It was like, I was so excited to have her in it. Like, so you get like these really cool actors that are in it, and they're really well done, but then there's always like some kind of shortcoming that's kind of like, rubs you the wrong way. I would be really excited to see them bring all these back. I mean, Luke Cage, man, I'd love to see Luke Cage back. I love that show. Right. With Spotty, like they all are, because we used to say like that 13 episode season it allows for too much for the spotty episodes. Like you get a filler episode that's kind of like, just bring it down to like the 8, 9 that they're doing. Like, look how tight WandaVision is. Look how tight Mandalorian was. It's like, I mean, of course I want more when it's done, but like you get a good story, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you. We talked about that ad nauseum. Outside of Daredevil, none of those other series were great beginning to end. They all had their filler episodes.
They did. They absolutely did.
Yeah. So,
but I'm excited. I mean, I would love to see them bringing these characters back with these actors, and put them in the films, and also would love to see them come back in series. That'd be cool.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. So we are coming up on the final part of the show, and we are going to end it talking about what we've been talking about the last bunch of weeks, because it's been great, and that is WandaVision and everything that goes along with that. And as I said at the top, we're going to be talking about WandaVision. Basically, we've seen the first 6 episodes of the show, and here we are the night before episode 7 will drop. So what we're talking about, we'll be talking about what we've seen, and then obviously any speculation of what we think is going to happen on when it's dropped tomorrow, episode 7. So here we go, man. Last week's episode. Woo! It was a lot. A lot happened last week.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything from the clowns coming to town to Darcy getting sucked into Westville to we saw a dead Quicksilver. We got to see, the other side of town that was like just kind of, going through the motions because
frozen and time type of thing. Like close to the border. And
and you saw that lady like crying like in agony because she's just repeating the same stuff over and over again. We saw Jimmy and Monica take off. They were going to go pick up the aerospace engineer.
Yep.
There's and we saw that weird ass commercial with the shark and the kid.
Oh my God. How dark was that?
So let's touch upon some of the rumors.
Let's go on some of the rumors. Oh, and also too, what was 2 things I thought was really great or just awesome. Like I loved how when Vision was leaving and he was kind of getting pulled apart because it didn't want him to leave, and then Wanda like tapping into some like crazy amount of power.
Yep.
Like to expand the hex was like, holy smokes, man. That is like, now you're getting some real like Omega level like mutant stuff going on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk about some of the rumors and symbolism going on.
Yeah, so one of the things, the shark happens to be the same colors as Quicksilver. So it's one of the things that people are speculating towards Quicksilver actually being the villain and not being, who he's supposed to be.
Right, and that's something that's been going around is like, we know there's a big villain out there. We know it.
But we don't know who it is.
We don't know who it is. We know they're manipulating Wanda somehow and pushing her into doing these things, possibly feeding off her power. Something's doing this, and there's a lot of candidates.
Yes.
But it hasn't shown yet. We still don't know exactly who it is.
Yes. There's an article that you sent me with the hands on the clock spelling out X-Men using naval flag symbols.
Yep.
So that's another interesting one.
Yep.
There was the illusion or not illusion, but Darcy alluding to Monica possibly not wanting to go back into the hex because it's already recompiled her DNA twice and they don't know what's going on, and Darcy fearing that it may kill her the next time that she does cross over.
Right, because it's reconfiguring her molecules, which we're all like, okay, this is how she's gonna get her photon powers. I mean, it's so like they're spelling it out for us. Yes.
Another rumor which I read today is Dottie Emma Frost.
That's a really good one. Very well, it would be interesting to see if they pull that off as her being Emma Frost, which, I mean, she looks the part.
Right. Definitely looks the part. The other thing too is there's all the speculation on the aerospace engineer. Teyonah Parris, who plays Monica Rambeau, has said she can't wait to see everyone's reaction when they see who the aerospace engineer is. So many rumors. First it was Sue Richards, then it became Reed Richards. And the other tie-in there to the Fantastic Four is that Agnes was Ben Richards' babysitter in the comics.
Oh, see, that's something I did not put that together. Okay. So tomorrow's episode, which is for you, is going to drop
probably it's about 1 o'clock. It'll probably drop at around 9 a.m. my time because that's midnight in California.
Right. So you'll be seeing it, and are we gonna get? I mean, so now we're episode 7. There's 3 episodes with this episode coming. There's 3 episodes left. After tomorrow, there'll be 2 episodes left. Are we gonna? Is the hammer gonna get dropped tomorrow? Are we gonna really start getting? Are we gonna see the aerospace, or are we gonna get a Luke Skywalker moment?
Well,
does Doctor Strange show up in this series?
Well,
we see Doctor Strange in the last episode of the series.
I think we have to. I think from here to the end, we're gonna get resolution as to what happens to Vision, because, and this is something that Christian Michaels talked about in the group, and someone else, or no, this was actually in another group, I believe.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I've read so many things that I'm mixing it up now. But there was the Vision World comic series that Tom Ford had done, if I'm not mistaken, or I don't know if I'm mixing that up. Yeah. But where Vision kind of creates this entire world to live on his own, Do we see that happen to Vision in the end? Because we all know that he was killed,
right?
You know, in Infinity War. Does Vision end up living in the Hex? You know, does that end up being something in the end? Is that the resolution of this series? Do we get, you know, as you're saying, do we get to see Doctor Strange? And if Reed Richards is going to be in that, or Professor X, do we see either one in this series? Because they both could easily tie into this story.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I mean, is that something we get? Do we get a Professor X moment here? Because if Quicksilver turns out to really be Quicksilver and not the villain, does this mean other X-Men can come in? Can they be pulled in? Because there's now an opening that the multiverse is open. Because the rift, you know, there's obviously a rift or a tear or whatever you want to call it is now open because Wanda. Yes. I mean, you just got to say Wanda at this point is so powerful and she's using so much of her energy to do what she's doing. And if she did make a rift to bring in this other version of Quicksilver from that other multiverse, the Foxverse, the 20th Century Fox universe. Does that mean other X-Men can come in?
More importantly, does that mean her father can come in?
If they go with that line of continuity, you know, if they bring in the father from that multiverse and not, you know, because obviously her parents are dead in this version.
Well, imagine this.
Well, at this point in this version, her parents were killed. Her parents were killed in
Sokovia. Yeah,
Sokovia. Unless that's not what she is. Unless that's just not true.
Right. Which in the comics it's not, and it's then proven that it's Magneto.
Right.
And imagine if the whole kind of arc here is that I tried to make that dimension a better place and the Sentinels are now destroying us there, so I'm coming here to make sure that this is a world that's going to be safe for mutants.
Right. And one of the videos I watched actually was, I can't remember which one I watched on YouTube because I would love to give it credit because I just can't remember, but what they said was an interesting thing. It may have been Nerdist actually. So but one of the videos I watched on breakdowns was they were talking about why, what's his name? The director was so wants Vision and why he had him in pieces and all that is because is that the potential start to the Sentinel program?
Yeah, I've seen that as well.
Being able to reverse engineer that technology. So yeah, we probably saw, or it's just a popular theory, but is that a thing? You know, is it that they're trying to reverse engineer the Vision technology to create the Sentinels to keep superheroes in check? You know, so Civil War doesn't kind of happen again.
Right. Yeah, that's a pretty popular theory. There's also, you know, or maybe the big bad is more front and center than we think. Maybe it is the you know, the guy from Sword. Shit.
Yeah, I'm blanking out on his name too.
Yes.
IMDb.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going. Director, what the heck's his name?
Not Director Krennic. That would be Rogue.
No. Director Tyler Hayward.
That's it. Hayward. Yes.
Oh, wait a second here. Okay. So if you go to IMDb. Okay, this is interesting. If you go to IMDb, for example, it says Wanda Maximoff /... I'd imagine that says Scarlet Witch. Monica Rambeau /... Same thing. Director Tyler Hayward /... as well. So does director Tyler Hayward all of a sudden become someone else? You know, is he actually someone with ulterior motives? I mean, read a bunch of different things. Oh, well, he's actually someone from Hydra, and Sword is actually Hydra. And
well, yeah, I mean the Sword infiltrated by Hydra, which we've been getting all these Hydra commercials embedded into the Hex. Is Hydra behind a lot of this? I mean, is Hydra the one because like at the end of the day, in this universe, Hydra was responsible for Wanda and Quicksilver for Pietro.
Correct. Yeah.
And are we now bringing that back in? Are they trying to regain their assets that they lost? Is this just a gigantic Hydra plot? There is no multiverse.
Right. And they've been stringing us on this whole time. It could be.
But we do have Multiverse of Madness, so inadvertently is a multiverse opened up.
Right. There's still a lot in these last 3 episodes to find out.
Will Spider-Man make an appearance in Wandavision?
He could.
Which version of Spider-Man? Come hang out on, come walking into the.
Well, here's the thing with Mandalorian. What do you think was the biggest holy crap moment that you didn't expect?
A Luke Skywalker.
Okay.
I did not think that was coming. I did not. For 100. I mean, you heard me say there's no way. Like Luke would be the big surprise, but they're not going to do it. And boy, was I proven wrong.
Well, here's another one. Boba Fett coming back, I think, for a lot of people, especially after silence, after Zero Signal.
Yeah. The first. Well, okay, so Boba Fett was huge because that's my boy, but then they trumped it with Luke. Yes. The Luke card was like, holy crap!
So what have they done so far?
And then they came back and announced a Boba Fett series, which then was like a. Yeah. I mean, Ahsoka was also big, but we knew Ahsoka was coming. It was just the anticipation of seeing her.
Right. With this, we haven't had that holy crap moment yet. There have been a lot of different things where it's like, that's cool. It ties into this, ties into that. But there hasn't been like that Luke appearance.
No, there hasn't been a mic drop moment yet. I mean, the closest thing was,
Quicksilver probably appearing.
But the show's not over yet, and you're not gonna show your ace.
That early on,
held for final episode.
It all depends. Do we see the ace in the next to last episode, and then we have resolution in the last episode?
It ties into Multiverse of Madness. Like,
or does the series just set up Multiverse of Madness and we have no completion?
Now, let me ask you this, because I know we're going to wrap up here. So if you don't have to answer me on this, we could leave. Anybody who's listening to this or watching this can also be left with this. Will this tie in to the Loki series? Because of Time Variance Authority, and if we're dealing with time and multiverses, is there a Loki tie-in here?
Here's another question for you, which I thought of earlier today.
Riddle me this, Batman.
Yeah, riddle me
this. How does raise your Loki? And
how does this tie into Falcon and Winter Soldier?
I don't think it does. I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is happening on a whole other side of the world, and they aren't even bringing them in. I think they're doing their thing.
But going back to what I said earlier during this episode,
would that be a mic drop moment for you to have them show up? Would that be a Luke Skywalker moment?
It wouldn't be a Luke Skywalker moment because, I said, it would be cool because Feige ties everything together. So I could see either or happening, either Loki showing up, or I could see Falcon and Winter Soldier showing up.
We get an Avengers Assemble moment because this is such a big deal now.
I could. Shit. Sorry. Could the aeronautics specialist be Mark Ruffalo, be Bruce Banner?
Maybe.
and then that ties, and that would bring Falcon in, and but as you're saying, that poses a good question, because we know there's a Hawkeye series coming as well.
Right.
Do they need to assemble the Avengers, what's left of the Avengers, to break the hex?
Maybe. I will leave everybody with that thought. To be continued. To be continued. So yes, with that final thought, we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. We will be back next week, next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch us right here on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button so you get notified. Hit that little bell, you'll get notified. All the stuff. Do all the stuff. If you want to watch this in the Galaxy of Geeks Facebook group, all you have to do is hit the link in the post here. I have it scrolling across the screen. Search on Facebook, Galaxy of Geeks Facebook group. Hit the join, and we'll let you in, and we'll keep the conversation going there. So you can always catch us. And, of course, the audio version you could listen to on anywhere you listen to podcasts. I want to thank everybody so much once again for hanging in there with us, watching the episodes, giving us the great feedback, liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all that stuff. We really appreciate all of you. And I'm going to throw it back over to my main man, Victor, to send us out.
Just echoing what Chris said, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time on the Galaxy of Geeks live stream and podcast.